Well, hi guys, this is Doin Productions, aka Nano 4673, and, hallelujah, I'm back in, Queen at Arms Part 10, I think it is, and, you'll see this, a lot later, but, I just returned from Italy, I forgot to upload all the pre-recorded stuff. It's such a shame because I was like, okay, I'm gonna record a lot of videos and I'm gonna upload them so that you don't realize I'm gone. But then I forgot and I was busy and then yeah. Now I have a lot of pre-recorded videos and yeah. Right. It's been a long time. It's been an entire week since I played this, so I gotta remember what actually happened. But we're looking for James. So hi, James. I found James in the back, standing hunched with his hands planted on a large table. He was not alone in the tent, but he may as well have been. Blue papers covered the surface, more were balled up on the ground by his feet. He held a piece of charcoal in one wildly moving hand, sketching shapes onto the sheet of scrap. I must have surprised him by looking over his shoulder as he very nearly smacked me in the chest when he turned around. "Oh, Alex!" He laughed as something flashed across his face. He stood up straighter and gave me a salute, deepening his voice. "Commander Cordell." For all his efforts to appear official, the same grin as ever pulled at the corners of his taunt mouth, and he had smudged charcoal across his forehead doing his salute. "What brings you here?" Even as he asked, there was a distance in his eyes. Before I could answer, his face lit up and he turned away with an aha. Furiously, he scribbled what looked like a sequence of numbers on the paper, muttering to himself. He looked back at me sheepishly when he was done, scratching his neck and rubbing more charcoal onto his face. "Sorry, I just figured something out." I really should have been the one to apologize. His mind was clearly elsewhere. "He seems pretty busy. Should I leave him alone?" "Yeah, leave him to work. A maintenance report could wait. Any of the other mechanics could inform me as well." "Never mind, it's nothing. I'll leave you to your work." "Are you sure? Because I held up a hand to stop him and nodded. A good commander had to know when to trust their men to do their jobs, hadn't he?" "Alright." He seemed disappointed, but when he turned his attention back to the table, I'm sure that my intrusion was quickly forgotten. I made my way out of the tent. Before I realized it had drawn on to the evening. Wearied by all the day's activity, I decided to settle down for bed. After a long day's work, I hoped I could find some peace in my bed, though I found it difficult to sleep with thoughts of war plaguing me. Speaking with my brother had not made the burden on my shoulders any lighter. In fact, now I felt even more responsible for what was to happen. I did eventually sleep, but it was in fits. I could not put my mind at ease. It seemed like I had only slept for a couple of minutes before I was jolted awake by the sounds of clamor, though it must have been longer. When I poked my hand from the tent flap, I could see the moon had already moved far across the sky from where it had been when I retired. I could not say the time for certain, but it was quite late, and by now most of the men should be sleeping. But across the camp, smoke rose from a large fire, and spirited shouts rang out clearly. "And they expect us to stand one more day of this?" Other voices rang out in response. I threw my uniform over the bedclothes and made my way to the scene. "For fear's sake, look what happened to Warren. He was the victim here." One of the men, as guardian, stood before a circle of other soldiers, his countrymen. All of eyes were on him. "Do you see what's happening here? They take us from our homes, drag us through the damn dirt, and now they want us to trample our own towns and fields? And for what? The glory of their king?" What was this? A rally? The question was spat more like a threat, roused low from the other soldiers. Around the camp there were signs of other stirring, but these men were too engaged to notice me yet. The man stomped his foot on the ground, his fists balled. Dry kindling cracked and snapped loudly under his boot. "I'm not gonna sit here and get treated like a dog. Not anymore." "What about you all, huh? What are you, filthy Sulgo hounds?" Some of the audience averted their eyes, a few chewed their lips and cradled their fists in their laps. We'd all borne witness to how swiftly this could be dealt with under the previous commander's rule. They had no reason to think that I and the new king would be any different. I'm a man, One of the others finally spoke. As a slightly older man, the rest fell quiet. I am a proud Solguardian, and I am not some... Okay, the rule is I can swear if it's in the game, so, and I am not some fucking dog. I have brothers and sisters, cousins and friends who are waiting for me. I have a girl back home who loves me, who I bet you is crying for me every day. I am not anybody's dog. With that, a roar of whooping and cheering raised from the crowd, which had nearly doubled in size since my arrival as the Solguardians, and some other curious Afrian rose from their beds. Others who had kept quiet before began to speak up, adding to the building chaos. Me neither! I haven't trusted any those guys from the start. I didn't come here for this. Every shout only seemed to fuel the others, until it became hard to tell who was speaking, let alone what was being said. The man who had been speaking at the beginning leaped on a stump nearby, standing over the rest. And this is why we can't just sit here. We need to fight back. We need to. Enough! A hush fell. The crowd parted as I pushed my way through. What is going on here? Commander, I asked a question. The man standing on the lock relaxed his stance, but he remained where he was. We were just having a talk, Commander. That's allowed, isn't it? Of course you're free to talk to one another, but you're disturbing the whole camp. An army that isn't well rested won't make it through the day. About that, some of us don't think that we've been treated fairly in this army. We're soldiers, just as the rest of them. But you wouldn't think that from the way the Afrian sons of bitches kick us around. What are you saying, soldier? What am I saying? Are you blind? Horatio. Perhaps you've been busy and catering them to them, Commander. Those are Afrians. But in the meantime, we Solguardians are getting the short end of it. That fight this morning, do you even know what that was about? It was a disagreement over rations, one that could have been resolved. I understand that you're under a lot of stress. We all are, but there is no excuse for causing a disruption like that. You can't be serious. This is a real problem. The Afrians are treating us like dirt. That fight happened because Warren couldn't take it anymore. He stood up for himself against the Afrian scum, a man who tried to deprive him of his rations, and it wasn't the first time. And for what? Because he was a Solguardian. Some sharp voices and murmurs rose from the crowd. The tension was big enough to feel it in the air. I don't want to lose my men. Let's talk it out. Let's talk it out, bro. Bro, I've lived my life as a Solguardian, haven't I? We can do this. Brutality was rarely the wisest decision in moments like these. If I wanted to put a quick stop to this, I needed to explain to them why it would be a good treatment. I understand that you feel you're being treated poorly. That we feel, Commander? We do not feel we are treated poorly. We know it. The soldier smirked at me when the crowd punctuated his exclamation with rousing cheers. I hope that all these men actually want to listen to me rather than beating their fists in their chests in outrage. I have no intention of ignoring this issue. However, I don't feel that the timing is... Timing? You speak to us of timing when we're at war. Death could fall upon us at any moment. That is part of the point I'm attempting to make. If you would simply take a moment to... Take a moment, he says. The commander is wasting our time, boys. He has no intention of siding with his Solguardian brothers. This was getting out of hand. The ringleader was refusing to let my points get through, and these men were only rallying harder behind him. I could feel even my temper tapering. I have already said I do not intend on ignoring this, but I do not think you are considering all... Considering all of what, Commander? How we're forced to fight our own brothers, and in turn are treated like dogs with the ones we've been forced to fight beside? We've been considering it well, so well in fact I see no reason for us to stay here and take it. The cheer of the crowd announced that he did the Solguardians behind him. I was getting nowhere this way. Either I would need to be more forceful, or I need this matter to someone they would listen to. Man. Gotta make them listen. Then you should leave. We should all leave. The soldiers started to cheer again, but my blade was at Horatius' throat, turned into a gasp. When my brother was promoted, a man showed his taste for some guardian in charge with the sharp of his blade. Commander Bruce handled the problem by hurrying his journey into the arms of Althea. Commander, I put up my free hands to silence him. I don't want to handle this with the same barbarism, but if you rally these men to leave your brothers and sisters on the other side, will. They won't see you as friends. They will see those uniforms and know that you're the enemy. And that is, if you manage to make it to them. The winter has grown cold and bitter, soldier. You will get no help from your fellows as far as food and fire to survive it if you abandon them. And you will be abandoning them. These men that you fought alongside, the horrors you've all survived together, the war that they have entered for your sake, so your queen will accept that you are not her enemy. There is no wisdom in having their chances of survival, no honor in leaving them to die while leading the others to do so as well. Need I continue with the reasons your actions are unwise? My eyes cast over the crowd as they wavered in confidence. The Horatio seemed to see the same as his terror grew. If you intend on going alone, I certainly can't stop you, but then it would be a mercy to hasten your way into the arms of Our Lady of Ice. There was no guarantee that Horatio wouldn't try this again once I'd left. My words were working now, but they might be sour once I'd gone. Commander Bruce had understood that extreme measures are often called for in moments like these, should I follow in his footsteps. The timing was right. If I dealt with Horatio now, it wouldn't be questioned, and the threat of rebellion would go with him. No, don't be the Bruce. Knowing that I wouldn't kill him, Horatio got his second wind. You will not silence our voices with your blade. You will not need to. Your tongue will do that well enough if you continue on this path. In the weight of the deaths, one you can handle? Is it worth justice over stolen rations to doom yourself and your men to the ravages of winter and the agony of seeing the ones you love treating you like the enemy? Horatio paused, my words managing to really rattle him as I put my blade away. Be sure that this is the most wise course, soldier. It will be on your soldiers alone should you proceed with it. Knowing that there was nothing more that could be said, I took the opportunity to walk away. I was exhausted, but satisfied that I'd at least cast doubt in Horatio. Maybe that would be enough. As the day drew on, there was nothing on the soldiers' lips but talk of the night before. Perhaps foolishly I had hoped that the incident occurred in the middle of the night. It would be quickly forgotten, so that we could focus on preparing ourselves to approach the capital. But Horatio had caused enough of a ruckus that there was no possible way anyone in the army could have not known about it. I guess there was no sense in trying to covering it up. As the day drew on, we packed our camp and set off marching. I was glad to see Nick by my side again. I was worried we might not be on speaking terms, even if he wasn't quite himself. I needed my family now more than ever. It won't be much longer now, will it? No, I suppose it won't. According to the king's maps, we're nearing the end of the Goddess Road. We should be reaching Cillian within the day. So we will. Alex, have you ever been to the capital? It was a funny question, one that Nick should have known the answer to, as we had rarely spent time apart. You mean Cillian? No, I guess I haven't. In fact, I had hardly ever gone than a day from our hometown before joining the army. This part of Sylgard was entirely new to me. Though there wasn't very much of Sylgard to see along this road, just more farms and old trees, not so different from home at all. Is it nice there? I mean, have you been? He shook his head. With father, but that was a long time ago. It was nice, I think. I only saw the outside of the Queen's palace, but it was pretty impressive. They call it the Jewel of Sylgard, right? Right. I thought I saw him scowl. He said nothing in a short while. What is it? It's a jewel. If it's a jewel, then are we going to tarnish it? What? Forget it. Let's just not damage anything unnecessarily when we get there. I wanted to argue with him, but already were others watching us, and I was in a pretty tricky place for where the troop as it is. We've sent your scouts ahead, haven't we? Shouldn't you ask the fox that? That's his territory. My guess is soon. They left yesterday. She'd be coming up to me. I'm sorry, I had to take a little break. Meet them, yep. Excuse me! Minute. Good. We'll need to be ready for anything. You'll let me know when you see them? Of course. That's good then. As he walked away, somehow I could not find it in my heart to thank him. Why not? Alright. The sun began to settle on the horizon. After a long march, we finally paused to set up camp. There was still no news from the scouts, so we couldn't plan our advance just yet. It was strange to suddenly have some free time on my hands, and I decided to use it by being social. I could hardly even remember the last time I had a casual chat with someone, and I needed something to quickly take my mind off the dangers around us. Ruby's allergies! Ah! As I approached the cleric's tent, I saw the Archmagus enter ahead of me. He appeared especially determined for some reason. I could not imagine what business he would have there, considering he rarely was injured, but then he and Lucius did spend a fair bit of time together. That's what I thought. Oh, I'm so excited. When he's gonna figure out she's a girl? Does he already know? Does he know that we're the fucking princess of everything and stuff? I kind of forgot about that detail while on vacation, but then when I came back, I'm like, oh, that's right. Still, with the way he had been acting lately, it had seemed a very bad idea to let him interfere with the cleric's work, especially when there was so much to be done. I waited a few seconds before following him in. Ruby stood just inside the entryway, gazing at the prelate. Lucius was beside a nearby soldier, tending to her wounded leg. He hadn't seemed to notice either of us. Rubus, do you need something here? The Archmagus scowled. What I need is for the prelate to cease to be so intractable. He believes that ignoring his problems will solve them. He's behaving utterly childishly. Perhaps if he would listen... I can hear you. Can you? I was beginning to think you were deaf. I need a new voice because this is like they all have the same. I'm just going between girly voices and deep voices. It's not really working out. Like Rubus, I want him to have like this deep, strong, and calm voice, but I can't do it. Well, as your hearing is intact, listen to me. The fact is... Shut up, Cars! I can hear you, but I don't want to hear you. Please leave. You're behaving unreasonably. You are the one who's being unreasonable, Archmagus. I asked you to leave. You're interfering with our work. Commander, I suggest you remove the Archmagus. I believe his presence is upsetting some of the patients. This is a pitiful display, Lucius. Find me when you wish to begin acting your station again. I'm sorry you had to see that, Commander. I am as well. I don't know what dispute you two are having, but please try not to have it in front of the troops. I nodded to the patient, who seemed baffled by the exchange. How is your leg feeling? Better, Commander, thanks to the prelate. Thanks for asking. I'm glad to hear it. Please keep up the good work, Lucius. Of course, Commander. It was nearly nightfall before the scouts returned. I noticed a few of them trickle in as we were setting up camp for the evening. Soldiers! I called out to them before they could vanish back into the fold of chatting and east troops. The head scout rushed up to me. So, there you are! I was doubtful that the scout had been looking for me. It was still unclear who they were to answer to. Neither Alistair nor Kendrick before him, or even Bruce or Baron had made the hidersy clear, and none of those the others was certain. What is it, soldier? What did you find out? Is the road ahead clear? No, sir. What is it? I meant to report that to the king, sir. It was all over my head again. It was over my head again. I suppose it was all the best all intelligence went to the crown, but as commander of his army, I need to keep informed as well. Well, then we better go find him, haven't we? Alistair, as usual, was in his tent, sitting alone over a table spread thick with maps and charts. He was half he was only half looked up from his contemplations as we entered. What is it? The scouts had returned, sir. Go on, speak. What did you see? The scout dropped to one knee. The road is blocked, Your Majesty. The Solgardian army has set up camp ahead. They're waiting for us. The king looked less than surprised. Well, of course they are. Charliot is a bit paranoid. It's a paranoid old biddy. Commander, are the troops prepared for battle? Oh my God! Are you doing this to me? Are you doing this to me? You doing this to me? You doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? I don't understand. I don't want this. What? Oh my God. Honestly? There's no soldiers here? Yeah, that depends. We're not ready. We're fucked up, man. I'm sorry for swearing so much, but this is the swearing game, okay? I'm gonna stop in the next one, but today, this game's a swearing game. I can't not swear when it's so friggin' intense. Most likely, I would just need to know. What? I turned to the scout. What exactly are we up against? How many are there? You saw at least 2,000 there, sir. It didn't look like they had any large weaponry with them, but it's possible they'll bring in that later. Thank you. I will go ahead and ready the troops then, sir. Wonderful. Though he said it, he did not seem pleased. You are dismissed. The scout saluted and left from the tent. I had assumed Alistair was talking only to the scout until he glared up harshly from his table. The hard edge to his gaze was unnerving. I swallowed back momentary fear. Is there something you need, Commander? Man, I kinda wanna go back to him being, like, nice and girly and happy and stuff, instead of this. Sorry, sir. I didn't know you had finished speaking with me. I'll go now. I'll keep you abreast of our preparations. See to it, Commander. Of course. Now leave me, please. There's much to do. Yes, sir. Luckily, I found Nick with a little difficulty as I made my way back into camp. To tell the men that we were once again on the eve of the battle was a heavy task, and I felt not ready to do it alone, especially not with last night's events weighing over everyone. Had the king not hidden himself away in his tent, I would have think an announcement like this would be his job. But leading and informing the men and women of this army was my duty, and now I had to remember that. Still, the help would be appreciated. Nick, Alex, despite his apparent annoyance with me earlier, he seemed less bothered now. I wondered what might have improved his mood. I hope it wasn't a drink. It probably was. I think in this situation everybody needs to drink every single day, every single second of their lives. It's bad news. The Queen's army is waiting for us. We'll have to get through to them to reach the capital. Another fight, huh? Does that not surprise you? He shook his head. That's all we do now. I suppose there's any way of... I don't suppose there's any way of convincing the king otherwise. No. I suppose there isn't. We have to be ready. I need to inform the men. Can you help me? I can. Nick. I reached out and squeezed his hand. It felt as warm as I remembered. Thank you. Alright. Ah, he gave us a smile. He doesn't hate us totally. I feel like I'm the only one who's like kinda trying to do stuff. It's like everyone's helping, but I'm the only one who's kinda like a little optimistic. Well, then James too, but James. The news of our upcoming challenge was met with mixed reactions. While a scattered few of the soldiers seemed overly energized by the prospect of battle, on the whole, the troops were indifferent or wary. Even so, there was no time for us to slack, not when we were so close. I spent the following morning urging everyone to continue making preparations for battle, even while they rested. With all the work to be done, the day slipped by quickly, and before I knew it, it was mid-afternoon already. I was in the middle of overseeing some mechanists' work when I was approached by one of the scouts. Commander, there was some Solgardians approaching the camp. Soldiers? The scout nodded. Unless I'm mistaken, is the enemy commander the Queen's Knight? Very net. I found myself momentarily momentarily stunned. What did her approach mean for us if not attack? She wouldn't be foolish enough to attack alone head-on. I'll go ahead to meet her. Tell the king. Yes, sir. I saddled up my reindeer and rode out of camp, ahead of the road. Hello. You know what? I thought you were gonna be cool. I don't like you. Me no like you. I wish I did. Me no like you. I wasn't far out before I saw the soldiers up ahead. The long-haired knight rode at the front with 6 of her soldiers at rear. And you know how unpractical that is? You had that hair as well when you were like fighting the king. Like, God, that's gonna be in the way. It's like already in front of your friggin' eye. Like, cut it. Cut it or get it away from your face. That's gonna be so bad for you. I'm sorry, but Nana's fighting tips. Jesus. Stop. What do you want? Lorimet called her party to halt about 20 paces from me. She looked at me and squinted. I've seen you before. What are you doing here? I could ask the same of you. I need to speak to your king and your commander, whoever that may be now. That would be me. You're the commander now. Yes, is there something wrong with that? I don't have time for jokes, lad. This isn't a joke. You're looking at this army's new commander. I'm Alex Cordale. Cordale? Are you a relation of Sir Thomas Cordale? I'm his son, actually. Well, that would explain it. Explain what? Your father was a good man and a great leader. Of course you would be as well. A thing as young as you in charge of this whole army wouldn't be sensible elsewise. Anyway, why did you come here? As I said, I wish to speak to the new king. I'd like to offer him my condolences for his father's passing. Oh, you shit! You came an awful long way just for that. It isn't just a token of a gesture. I truly am sorry for what happened. I wish to broker peace with Kendrick, not death. But my army feared for my life. It was my own failing that saw to the king's death. I'd like to express that to King Alastor and also, I admit, I held no love for the prince at first, but he's far more honorable man than his father could have ever been. I would like to extend an offer which may be able to end this war without a drop of bloodshed. I don't see how that could possibly happen. Both of our sides are too embroiled in this conflict already. Are you going to tell me that you aren't at least willing to try, Commander? Truthfully, I was. I didn't want this war to go on any longer than it needed to, and if there is a way to magically make it cease, I would take it. I'll take you to him. But I would suggest you to be careful. There are a lot of people who love the king. They aren't very happy with you. Then you have my apologies, but I have no fear from a few disgruntled men. Damn, they're my soldiers, man. Damn, they're my soldiers. They may be completely useless, but they're my soldiers. I rode back into camp with Lorimet and her guards and Tau. Immediately upon entering view of the tents of preparing soldiers, there was a mixed reaction. Many of the men appeared confused at best, or worst, furious. The men started speaking amongst themselves as though we couldn't overhear them. From somewhere the word Kingslayer began to drift around. Thankfully, they all had enough sense not to approach us. We rode up to the king's tent. His guards stood watchfully outside the entrance. I climbed down from my mount and patted the dirt off my uniform. I nodded to the guards. Don't let anyone bother them, they're here officially. When I pushed inside the tent, I found the king sitting at his usual table with his back turned to the entrance. He was holding a cup of something, but only swirling it around, not drinking. So the woman who murdered my father is here. I don't believe she was the one who killed him, sir, but yes, Commander Lorimet is here. It doesn't matter if she didn't cut his throat himself. It was on her behalf. What does she want? She wants to talk to you about the war. The Queen sent her? I think so. You don't sound sure. Did she tell you she came from the Queen? No, she didn't, but Then why would I believe her? If I want to believe that the Queen has good faith in any gesture, why do we only get her words through someone else's mouth? Does she even bear a letter with the Queen's seal? Excuse me, the recorder stopped. And King's a little moody. Don't know why. Maybe because the person who kinda was the fault that his dad died. I don't know. I doubt she does. I don't have the time or the will to listen to a murderer's false promise. Tell her to run back to her army. We will see her on the field. I clenched my fist, but there was nothing I could do to persuade him. I left the tent to find Lorimet still waiting patiently. The king isn't feeling well right now. He wanted me to talk with you for him. Damn, Alex, you don't do that! Come on, we can talk in my tent. This is bad. This is really, really bad. Before I entered, I waved down one of the soldiers and asked him to find Nick for me. Even though he had little interest in talking more, he was still the assistant commander. Lorimet entered behind me, leaving her soldiers outside. We both sat down at the planning table. You'll have to forgive me, Commander Alex. It's strange seeing someone so youthful in such a position. You aren't much older yourself. You'd be surprised. I'm told I've aged gracefully. I hope it's alright with the king. Has he caught ill? He's just tired, I think. He didn't want to talk right now. But you wanted to talk about a way of ending the war. Can you tell me instead? I can relay it to him for you. She looked anxious and tapped her fingers on the table. I really hoped to speak with him myself, but I guess he can't be helped. Just then the flap of the tent slid open and Nick pushed his way in. Commander Lorimet, welcome. He nodded in a greeting and pulled up a chair next to mine. I bristled. He should have been standing behind me, probably. But there was nothing I could do about that. What can I help you with? And you are? This is my brother Nicholas. He's my assistant commander. Another Cordale. You must be Sir Thomas' eldest boy. Your father was a good man. I thank you for saying that. I wish this could be a social visit, but I'm here to talk about ending this war. Queen Charlotte has offered to call off her army if King Alastor will do the same. In the simplest terms, we do not wish to see any more of our men lost, no more than I imagine you do. She doesn't intend to yield Castle Cillian, but I have orders to fight, and I have orders to fight to defend it if we must. But I don't want to if we don't have to. What the Queen is calling for is a full truce. The Orthrian army returns home and Silgard's army left them. There will be no more attacks on Orthrian soil as long as no attacks are made on Silgard. She wants to see friendly relations between the two kingdoms again, just as we had during the King Farman's reign. I think we would all like that, but it isn't that simple, is it? It would be simple if the king agreed. The queen wants no more fighting, but if she's forced to the blade, she'll fight until her last. That kind of puts us in a bind, doesn't it? Accept the offer on faith or fight. Neither is an easy choice. Even if the queen's offer is genuine, I don't know if the king is going to accept it unless he hears it from her own lips. Were there not fear of slaughter if she set foot outside the castle walls, she would have walked here herself. I guess that's true. I can do my best to convince the king. I'm just saying it's going to be tough. I want to trust you, but I don't know that he will. Why wouldn't he listen? You know he doesn't want to fight. He'll be glad to put a stop to this. No, he doesn't want to fight, but he has an obligation to carry on his father's legacy. You should know about that. Nick gritted his teeth, but didn't try to argue. I know, but what about the Silgardian soldiers? My army is ready to stand down the moment they receive my command. No, I mean the ones in this army, the ones who left Silgard to join here are the ones who were taken. What happens to them? Well, they come back home if that's what they want to do. The Queen holds no dislike for the men who left false promises of glory through their families may doubt their honor. I think I read that wrong, I don't care. And of course those who were stolen away will be welcomed back with open arms. This can be well for everyone. We just need to make it happen. Alright. Are you convinced? I nodded. I will see this, I want to see this end as much as anyone. I want to go home wherever that is. I wondered if Nick, noticed the brief glance I flashed at him. Nick, wait here with the commander. I'll go talk to the king. The king seemed to be in the very same place that I left him, though now he was studying a chart of some kind. He barely looked up when I entered. Has she gone? She's still here in the camp. I believed you. I asked you to dismiss her, Commander. I'm sorry, sir, but she insisted on talking. She gave me the Queen's own words. I explained to him everything Lorimet just had told me. She sends her condolences for your father's death as well. How kind of her. How am I to trust her word? Do you trust her? I can't explain why, but I think I do. She wasn't the one who initiated the fight at the bridge. And yet her side was the first to strike. I trust your judgment, Cordeo, which is why I made you commander, but I won't trust her intent until I see the entirety of this Lugaudian army cast their swords to the ground. I'll allow the possibility that she's being truthful, but if she betrays us, it's on your head, Commander. I understand, sir. Tell the woman she's welcome to ride with us for now, and I will speak with her later. When? When I feel like it. Please leave me now. So what did your king say? He said he wanted to talk with you some more later when he's feeling better. He said you can stay with us until then. As captain. I shook my head. You can leave whenever you like, but if you want to stay, I'll find you some accommodation. Is that alright? The last I stayed very long at your camp, it was under the less than favorable terms, but I will. I'm glad to hear it. Nick, can you see about finding them somewhere? Sure. Come with me, Commander Lorimet. As Nick escorted her out of the tent, I was left alone with a sickening mix of emotions. Yeah, you couldn't die. You couldn't die, mate. The king is an asshole because his father was an asshole, and shit's going down. Joy at the thought of fighting being done. Fear at the thought that it might be too good to be true. I wanted nothing more for it to be true, but is that even possible? I tried not to think too hard about it until we knew more. Can we just go date Rubus? It was a daunting feeling riding along the goddess road the next morning, especially since we knew that the full force of the Queen's army was just up ahead, waiting for us. While it was very likely we would not have to fight them, if the king truly wished to resolve this peacefully, I couldn't help but imagine all the things that could go wrong when we got there. What if they thought we had captured their commander and tried to launch an attack before we could get word in? That wouldn't work out well for anyone. There was another fact that made the day's ride feel very different from before. The commander herself. Her very presence had some of our men spooked, and they've kept even more distance from the king's encouraged than usual, lest the women try to cut them down if they got too near. Lorimet's mount trotted along beside the king's. The two of them were likely discussing the matter of war. If so, it was probably something I should be part of. Then again, maybe they wanted to speak alone. I looked around me. I spotted the prelate and the archmagus, but there was a great deal of distance in between them. In fact, I hadn't seen them together in days. It was peculiar. Yeah, we're doing that, but I'm gonna end the episode here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!